Now we live in a world where digital transformation for businesses is inevitable. Having said that, cybersecurity is one of the top concerns for all co-founders, founders, CEOs globally. One company that's helping businesses make that switch safely is our homegrown startup Lucidues. Backed by Cisco's former chairman and CEO John Chambers, Lucidues has raised a fresh round of funds, and in fact they're making this announcement right here on CNBC TV18 Startup Street. This round has been raised by Japan's MS&AD Ventures, and the round is worth $7 million. The co-founder and CEO Saket Modi claims to have doubled the valuation in the past 10 months and is with me right now in our studios. Congratulations, Saket, on this new fundraise, and thank you for speaking to us and breaking this news right here on Startup Street.
Thank you so much, Megha, and your show is for itself, speaking everything about the startup ecosystem in the country, and I don't think I could be at any better place than the show.
Well, we are happy to be doing that for the past 18 years with our other program, which is Young Turks as well. But let's talk about this fundraise right now. Firstly, what attracted the investors to fuel in another $7 million? Talk to us about how this deal came about.
Sure. So if you see historically, we've been a company which has been running for the last 7 years. We've been laser focused on cybersecurity. We eat, sleep, drink, talk, walk cybersecurity. Taking a segue from your previous section, MePay, when it was launched, yes, we did its end-to-end security. Not only MePay, we actually secured more than 60% of UPI-based applications in India. And this really is a testimonial of how we've been able to champion the Indian market. And that's where, I shifted my base earlier this year to the Silicon Valley.
Right.
And when that was the case, we were looking, while we are building a new platform which actually gives a risk score to organizations of how secure they are.
Yeah.
We got our latest investors in the form of Mitsui Sumitomo, which is one of the largest insurance companies in Japan.
Yes.
And their venture arm, which is based out of Silicon Valley, said that it's a very clear strategic overlap between what they do, because they are champions in cyber insurance.
Right.
We are champions in going ahead and providing quantification of how secured companies are.
Right.
So they both can be married to each other, and then you basically have a good strategic overlap on how we, apart from the funds, of course, being infused by them.
So lots of changes for you this year, but first talk about where and how are you planning to allocate this fresh round of funding that's coming?
Well, we've been growing in 3 digits, right? I mean, we last year grew 300%. We intend to continue the same trajectory next year, and that basically means that, I'm not in the business of eyeballs. I'm not in the business of downloads. I'm in the business of cash. So we are good when it comes to our cash flow. Having said that, the usage of the current fund would really be used for the further expansion and continue the triple-digit growth in the US and Indian and Singapore market. So these are my 3 focused geographies where we are expanding. We are almost 200 people already. We plan to double our engineering and sales team within the next 90 days itself.
Okay. For the benefit of our viewers, help us understand what your platform Safe is all about. In fact, in my introduction, there was a hidden pun right there where I said that, you help companies switch to digital safely. So talk to us about that, and why is it becoming an increasing need for almost every business out there?
Jamie Dimon, the CEO of JP Morgan Chase, was on CNBC just 2 months back, and he was asked a question, what's your number one worry? He said cybersecurity. And he spends $1 billion from JPMC on cybersecurity, and still their CEO says my number one worry is cybersecurity. Do you know why, Megha? Because even after spending so much money, the CEO, the boardroom, the shareholders, the regulators and insurance companies do not have a single metric by which they can judge how secured an organization is. If I'm staying in a 5-star or a 3-star hotel, you know what a 5-star or a 3-star hotel means. Today, when you go and open a bank account, you don't really know how secure it is. You don't really know, what are the best practices in security or cyber security the bank is actually using. That is what we are trying to revolutionize. Not only are we coming up with a new product that we've already done, it's actually a brand new category. So think of us like the first firewall that was invented, or the first antivirus that was invented. We call it CRQ. Cyber Risk Quantification platforms, and we see us championing that vertical globally, and that's what the product is all about.
Talk to us more about this category, and I would request you to speak English for the next minute. But yes, talk to us about this. The fact that you said that this is not just a new product out there, but you're trying to build out a new category, and that's what's attracting most of the investors who are backing you. What is this new category and how is this helping companies, and why is it inevitable for companies today?
We actually had multiple term sheets even this time, because last time when John invested, we had half a dozen term sheets. So we've been very fortunate with our investors and with attracting funds. To your point on why is this so hot, number one, cybersecurity, which is growing at 20% CAGR year on year. Secondly, in cybersecurity, which is growingly a crowded market, we are not creating just a product, we're creating a category, as I told you. Now, what is this category? If I were to completely talk in English, de-jargonized, when you take a hemoglobin test or your blood test, right, the hemoglobin count, Megha, that comes out there, you don't need to be a doctor to understand whether your hemoglobin is safe or not safe, right? You just get a number and you get a range.
Right.
If the number falls in the range, you know you're safe. I mean, if it doesn't fall, you know you're not safe. Today, cybersecurity, I don't know of one Fortune 500 company's board which does not discuss cybersecurity.
Right.
But they just don't know the right parameters or the metrics
So
on
how
what
do you
to track.
standardize this globally?
That's where getting insurance companies on our cap table as our partners.
Yes.
That's where going ahead and partnering. You know, we are incubated from IIT Bombay. There are research that we are doing with some of the leading academic institutions around the world, and really factoring all of that research around how do you make this a global standard. And we are really pushing in where our mission statement is by 2022, we want to make SafeScore the global de facto standard to measure and mitigate cyber risk.
Quickly, before I wrap up this conversation, we spoke about how you've shifted base and shifted headquarters to Palo Alto. What does that mean for the company, and how has that affected your business? You were based out of India, and now you've moved, your entire headquarters and set up there. You said that development is still, a large part of that is still in India. But for an Indian startup to set up shop there, what does that mean?
Megha, not just we were based in India, we were based and we championed the Indian market. We now intend to champion the American market, and these are two very significant markets because India is the champion of all the developing nations, and what I did in India is now replicable in many developing nations around the world. US on the other side is the champion of the developed nations category, and I'm personally there, the team is there, and we intend to repeat the same success. In one line, if I were to say what we are doing now, now is the time when we are ready for prime time to really take off at the cusp of the inflection point, as John Chambers like calling it.
All right, so taking on the tech giants right in their backyard. We wish you the very best, Saket, and thank you for sharing those details with us, and we'll be watching out for the Lucidues journey. Thanks a lot for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
With that, it's time for a break on Startup Street, but up next, the conversation with Axel